to those of you who are joining us in the Teach to Reach conference platform. So we'll be starting in less than 9 minutes, just ahead of the event. You can see the countdown here. I want to take this occasion, of course, to go over a couple of things. So first of all, we've invited Teach to Reach participants to join us here, and I'll be and so if you haven't right now, the francophones are doing networking, so you can try. I think there's some francophones who might be mismatched, but what we're going to do is we're going to try the networking feature. You'll see it's pretty neat. It's like an instant remote coffee pretty soon, but where you want to be going is to the stage. So obviously if you're watching here, right, and here is where we're going to be broadcasting. So now if you're in Zoom and you're a member of the COVID-19 Peer Hub, please stay here because you won't be seeing anything different. It's at the end of the General Assembly that we'll be heading over to do the networking. And just to show you how that works before we get started, you go to networking, you click on ready, and that will actually match you up, link you up with somebody. You can see the francophones are sending lots of messages saying that they're happy to have connected with someone else in the network. So you get to connect with someone for 2 minutes, and then at the end of the 2 minutes, you can decide if you want to exchange contact information, so you can stay in touch beyond the 2 minutes of networking. So that's how it's working so far. And we just finished a Francophone session, always very exciting. Hello to Josephine Owusu-Yeboah. If you're watching this from the stage in the Teach to Reach Accelerator Pilot Conference, it's just, it's a live stream, so just sit back. You can leave us your chat messages. Let me see if there are any messages in English yet. No. So we'll be starting in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I'll see you soon. Looking at our YouTube page, you're welcome to leave us comments. We can actually see your YouTube comments and share them on screen. We won't be able to share, it gets confusing with all these platforms, but wherever you're watching this, a warm welcome to you. Warm welcome to Obed Nuobe from Agona and Kwanta in Ghana, and Paul Angwawie also joining from Ghana. Welcome to you, and I know you have a Galaxy Tab A, dear Paul. You might want to rename yourself so you don't have your device's name. That always happens. So we'll be starting in 5 minutes and 35 seconds, as you see here. Very excited. We're testing today the Teach to Reach alumni who just completed Level 2 certification last week, have been invited to test the Teach to Reach conference platform. So we're running a test today, and you can see the francophones just finished networking. I think networking is still going on. And after the General Assembly, you too will be invited to go to this platform to test the networking capability. It's kind of neat. You get to click a button, and you meet someone else in the conference. So it's pretty neat. You get 2 minutes to chat, and then you decide whether you want to swap contact information to stay in touch. But right now, most of you, if you're seeing this from the Teach to Reach Accelerator Pilot Conference platform, it's because you're on the stage. So that is where you'll be watching. Now, if you're in Zoom, don't go anywhere. All right, we're gonna stay right here. We have many questions to ask you to keep the, to really get a sense of what is happening in the COVID-19 Peer Hub. So we'll be starting 4 minutes, 30 seconds, counting down until the start of the session. The francophones are networking right now. So if you are testing, if you're participating in the test of the Teach to Reach conference platform, no worries. You may not be able to network with anybody right now, but right after this General Assembly, so about 1 hour and 5 minutes from now, for those of you who have time and who'd like to do some networking, it's pretty neat, like an instant remote coffee. So you'll see the way it works is you click on a button and boom, you're connected with someone else who's on the platform. You chat for 2 minutes. If you have video, you can have video, and then you decide if you want to swap contact details. So a pretty neat way to connect. All right, Shalini is joining us. Shalini, have you tested the networking yet? You may not have because it's only the francophones, right?
No, I haven't tested the. Hi, Rada. Good evening. Um, I went there, but I tried, but it didn't happen yet.
Okay.
And then I realized there were the francophones, and they wouldn't understand me anyway. So I think I should be patient and wait for the anglophones to join.
All
I
right.
can't wait. Very
Alain,
excited.
Alain Blaise has been is already like is the consummate networker, right? So Alain, how has your networking capability going today?
Yeah, Rida, thank you very much. Once again, good afternoon to everyone. So today we are really at the pioneer of something extraordinarily wonderful, but it's not that new for us scholars because it's kind of the remote coffee. Can you imagine yourself having a remote coffee? You don't have to wait for an email and you just click on a button and then the machine will say to you, somebody is coming. And then you have 2 minutes to interact with the person. As like Reda say, you may want to get in touch with the person and exchange your WhatsApp number, but it's really fun because at the same time you have the video. So it's kind of innovation, Reda, and it's wonderful because I know some scholars now, Francophone, they have met already 7 people.
Oh, you have? Okay. In like 20 minutes, right? In the first 20 minutes. Yeah. All right. And just to, in case, for those of you who haven't been able because you haven't had time or for whatever reason you haven't had time yet to catch up on the, so we're testing this new platform for the Teach to Reach conference. It's looking pretty good so far right now. The Francophones you can see are networking. If you scroll down, you'll see here there's the schedule. So don't worry about that for now. Please stay in Zoom. We have lots of questions to ask you, and we're looking forward to hearing your responses. Look in the Telegram group if you'd like to know what those questions are going to be. And we'll be starting in just under 2 minutes. So let's switch gears a little bit in terms of the music, and let's go. All right, 1 minute, 20 seconds, and counting. And yes, one of the reasons I don't share the video is I move around. Long day sitting at a desk. I encourage you to do the same if your colleagues will allow it. Right, a warm welcome to you from Geneva, Switzerland. This is week 4 of the Impact Accelerator. So I encourage you to focus on your 4-week objective. Remember, you set an objective for the 4 weeks with the Impact Accelerator. We challenge you. Are you ready to take action? Hundreds of you responded positively and are now focusing on the sharing and mobilizing part of the pillar. Now, this week, right after this General Assembly or within a couple of hours, you'll receive a new request for the next acceleration report. Now, we did reduce the number of acceleration reports. Initially, we thought it would be every week and realized that would be a lot. And so many of you are making outstanding progress in the in the accelerator, progressing with your project. So we are going to All right. Just as a reminder, 338 of you were certified for exercise 1, 287 joined the Accelerator, and 257, so really 90%, almost everyone submitted their individual acceleration reports. So we didn't have an acceleration report last week. The timing has shifted a little bit, but this week, starting today, we're requesting your individual acceleration report. So we're asking you to update us on your progress. Remember, you set a 4-week objective. So by the end of this week, look at what objective you initially set for yourself, and measure, be honest with yourself. To what extent have you been able to achieve it? So what we'll be asking you is, again, the questions look a lot the same, but they're not entirely the same. So there's a few questions. Let me just scroll back all the way to the beginning. Yeah. So first of all, the email, of course, make sure you don't mistype it. Otherwise, we may not recognize your participation there. Second, has there been a change or progress since your last report? That's what's your project implementation status? Now, we do ask you this time to tell us more about your project implementation status. So really, remember, you said that you would achieve your specific objective, but that's not your entire plan. So make sure you distinguish the two. And tell us more. So if you're in a hurry, you can just hit enter. But of course, the more you tell us, the better we're able to support you. Project integration, that's another one. So really, the important ones are the status updates. Make sure you tell us how you're doing there, and tell us more so we can better understand. These are 3 categories, but tell us more. Write out, type out your answers. And then actually the most important part is from challenge to success. Do you have something that you would like to share? That's really, and if you don't, then you don't. But by now, if you've been working through the 4 weeks of the Accelerator, we would expect you to have, to have something to report back. So in fact, this is how I would like to kick off, is asking for contributions. So if you have a story to share, but before I do that, there's a couple of reminders here. So first of all, there'll be no weekly assemblies between the 17th of October. Oops, let me just fix that. Yeah, and the 1st of November. However, you are encouraged, of course, to keep making progress with your project. If you did not achieve, for example, your specific goal for the Launchpad, or if you haven't, you still need to work on your project, keep at it, all right? We won't be having the global assemblies. It's actually our team that's getting a term break, much needed for all of us, I think. But of course, unless you're going on vacation in the next 2 weeks, we expect you to keep working as part of your country team, keep connecting with each other, and so on. So that is what term break, and what it means for you is no weekly assemblies. Thanks, Sahini. All right, so now we start with the stories, and I want to say right now there's actually a large number of people who are Teach to Reach participants who are in the testing our new conference platform. So you can see the platform here, and you can see there are many messages here as well. Sushi Kapoor, I hope Sushi has been able to join us. Yes, okay. Was asking for the link to the Zoom room. So if you're a COVID-19 scholar, please stay here in the Zoom room. And I think many of you have already gone over to the Teach to Reach platform. So today is just a test. We're really testing, and you can see here. Let me see. Much needed for me also. Okay. So if you click here, you'll get to see for the link to the Zoom room. So if you're so you can actually, for Teach to Reach participants, thank you for following. This is the General Assembly of the COVID-19 Peer Hub. This will give you a sense of, if you're not also a COVID-19 Peer Hub participant, of what COVID-19 participants are up to. So first set of questions is about sharing a success, challenge, or lesson with your peers. So I'm going to ask, I see, all right, there's already Atahir Abubakar. Atahir, welcome.
Good evening, Reda, and other colleagues.
Good evening. We receive you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to share a success story based on my project that I'm conducting right now. So, what did you find? Sorry, let me expand a little bit. Well, what I did to find out more after the stakeholders meeting that we are going to support the project, we are able to map out communities that are in hard to reach area where the PPEs are not available. So in that community, some of the community, like 6 of the communities, we have volunteers that will be in the facility to be giving out dedicated masks for each client that is coming. So one of the story, one okay,
Yes, we're listening at
the
here.
sol- uh,
You can,
okay, the
if the
strategy.
questions aren't helping you, just tell us the story. What's the success? What happened? How did it turn out? That's what we really want to know.
Excellent. So one of the success that we achieve is using the community structures. There's community volunteers in most of the communities. They are the one that will distribute the masks, ensure that mask is not being shared among clients that are coming. And they are doing that voluntarily without any payment that we're giving them. They took it upon themselves that, okay, so this is the problem we are facing in our areas. We are going to ensure that each client that is coming to a facility has a mask of his own. And we ensure that that client does not share the mask with any other client. And they observe physical distance in each of the facility we are working with. So this is the success story. Working with community structure, they were able to buy in into the project without any mode of payment. They took it upon themselves as a voluntary work that they are going to support us over it.
Thank you very much, Attahir Abubakar, for sharing this story. Sounds like you are indeed making progress. Let's have. Are there other people who would like to share a success, challenge, or lesson with your peers? And remember, this is the heart of the COVID-19 Peer Hub. Is about sharing this experience. So please raise your hand so we can unmute your microphone if you have something that you would like to share today. All right. All right, we have a lot more grounds to cover, so we're going to move on. I know we just kicked off this session, but second update I have for you is about exercise 2. So I'm guessing that almost everyone here, if not everyone, made it through exercise 1. So here is what we're going to do next. We're going to share how we are challenging vaccine hesitancy. I'm going to explain why it's phrased in these terms, and we're still thinking about it and very much discussing with partners, and we want to hear from you as well. So we actually have 2 sets of questions. So undeniably, when we asked you, and this is from the 27th of July, but it stayed unchanged. Basically, the proportions are still, or you can see. So it may be difficult to read, but 1,273 of you said that your most critical challenge was that in July, caregivers being reluctant to come to health facilities, and second was, or actually third was, a lack of confidence in vaccination by the community, and fourth was inadequate communication or community engagement to generate demand for vaccination. So when we asked you, when it came to submitting and sharing ideas and practices in the ideas engine, so 452 ideas were about restoring demand for vaccination through communication with communities and caregivers, more than double the next item with 208 ideas and practices shared. So we had to respond to this. This expresses a very critical problem that is really shared across countries, system levels, job roles, and so on. It's quite striking the extent to which this has been, this is a concern to all of us. So what we are preparing is when we come back from term break, but you'll be hearing from us before that, is you're really from the 2nd of November all the way until the 18th of December. We'll be running a 4-week exercise during which, if you made it through exercise 1, you know that you first develop your project and then you submit it for peer review, then you do peer review yourself, and then you revise your project and finalize it. So we'll be going through that same process. And we'll be able to use the ideas engine as a resource. But really, this time, the point is likely, we're still finalizing, so there may be some changes, is going to be about really describing a situation or an incident in which you were able to convince someone or an entity, a group, either an individual or a group, a caregiver, a religious leader, a community leader, that was reluctant or hesitant about vaccines, and you were able to change their behavior and help them make the right decision using, and you'll be telling us how you did it. That's the interesting part. So that one. Now, with this exercise 2, we have more than 300 of you amongst the Anglophones who have finished exercise 1. That means you know how it works. And half of you who finished had never done this before. The other half were already experienced scholars. So whatever the case may be, we're going to be inviting you, if you successfully completed exercise 1, to support a colleague to help him or her with exercise 2. And this could be individual support, just one-to-one. You pick a person, or we invite you to connect with somebody, and your commitment, and we'll ask for your commitment to make sure that person gets to the end of exercise 2. And we'll be doing group sessions. You know that Alain Blaise Tatsinku, who organized the daily technical support sessions to help newcomers who weren't familiar with how the peer review system works, who helped you. He helped so many of you through. He had help from colleagues who were experienced scholars. Well, you're now an experienced scholar because you made it through exercise 1, so you will potentially be able to help him through exercise 2. So we have a first set of questions, and again, I'm going to turn to you to ask for volunteers. Please raise your hand if you feel ready to answer these 3. So would you like to participate in the second exercise? This one will be specifically on vaccination hesitancy. Atehir, thank you for being the first to raise your hand. Of course, I'm going to turn to you, and thank you, Sohini. We would love to hear from people who have not yet spoken. We enjoy, of course, and appreciate those of you who raise your hand each time and really make that commitment. That wasn't to discourage you, Sohini or Atehir, but let's hear from Najib Habib. Please, Najib Habib, how are you doing? And please go ahead and unmute yourself. I've just made the request, so you just need to accept the prompt. And Samuel Sule Ajansan, won't be your first time, but let's hear from Najib. Najib apparently is having trouble unmuting. So Najib, you need to figure out how to unmute in Zoom webinars. Go ahead, Samuel, while Najib figures out how to do it.
Good evening, scholars all over the world. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to just go through those 3 questions. Would you like to participate in the second exercise on the vaccine hesitancy? Why or why not? Yes, I want to participate because since I started the scholar, I've learned a lot, especially best practice and strategy, which already I am implementing some of them, and which really I've shared some of those best practice with my colleagues and make them to see the reason why they need to, implement those things. I think, yes, I'll be part of it. Is the exercise likely to be of interest to you, to your colleagues who did not participate? Yes, I'll begin to rally around some of my colleagues that didn't participate in the previous scholar courses. And I've made them to see reason why they need to participate, so that they will learn new things, so that they will meet new people and, in fact, move forward. Do you find sharing experience and peer review useful? Yeah, I think my last peer review, the three colleagues that reviewed them, I always go back to look at their comments, because like one of them did, he drew my attention to something, and which really, when I went back, I was able to review. And I think it's very, very interesting to see people you don't know reviewing what the project which you feel you've written, and for them to give you idea on how to move forward, on how to make it best practice. I think it's a very, very good thing, which I hope you will sustain it, because it's good for other people to review your project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Samuel. I wrote down something that you said, which is, let me see if I can recall. Whoops, let me get I've lost a screen here. Hang on one second. Yeah. So you said learn new things, meet new people, and move forward, make progress. That's a great way to summarize what we are doing here. We might even use that as a slogan to recruit newcomers as we say we're going to be reopening the Peer Hub. So we've actually received several hundred new applications, and we've told them, please hold. We're busy with exercise 1. We're busy with the first, this first very committed cohort, and we're going to reopen again. So thank you, Samuel. Maybe we've just found a new slogan for the Peer Hub. Okay, let's go to Abdul Hakim, and then we'll go to Mercy Onu-Peters. Abdul Hakim, the floor is yours.
Good evening, all. Good evening, scholars all around the world. It's a great privilege and honor being among scholars from all over the world. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's a bit jumbled, but we can hear you. Please proceed.
All right, starting with question 1, would I like to participate in the second exercise on vaccination hesitancy? Why or why not? Of course, yes, I would love to participate. The Scholar program have been a very interesting field to share ideas and get insights on what you think you know. There are corrections made and improvement of knowledge. So yes, of course, I would love to partake in any program conducted as it's an avenue to learn new things. Moving to question 2, is this exercise likely to be of interest to your colleagues? Yes, very much, yes. I've had certificates of the scholar programs from the COVID-19 course that was done on this platform and the Peer Hub. Colleagues saw very much interested. Why we did not? And last, hearing experience and peer review useful. Yes, it is very much useful as no man is an island of knowledge. And what you think you know best, it might just be a little correction that is needed to hit the top and make it more valid. So yes, of course, I've had lots of peer review and it's a great way to add to the knowledge and learn new things. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Abdul Hakim. You can see on the screen the next set of questions. So this is a different set of questions. So if you're ready to answer the first, I'd like you to think about a time in your work when you convince someone, could be an individual, could be a mother, could be another parent or family member, could be a group, could be a community leader, a religious leader, or a group of people, and you convince them to vaccinate children who needed it. I'm going to ask you these questions about them. So if you have your hand raised and you can think of an incident, a situation like this, that's great. Let me see. Let's go to Mercy Onu-Peters. Mercy, how are you doing? Remind us where you're connecting from and what you do, and then tell us about a situation in which you convinced someone to vaccinate children who needed it.
Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. This is Mercy Onu-Peters. I'm a MST Management Support Team, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. I've supported a lot of polio program, even this COVID-19. What was the situation when I convinced people to, what will have a lot of non-compliance, to meet the caregivers, to be able to talk to them to vaccinate their children, the importance of vaccination in the children's life. And number 2, what is the stakeholder? I use myself as a stakeholder because I'm representing my agency, which is National Primary Health Development Agency, by paying advocacy to the LGA teams, like the local government chairman, the stakeholders, people that are involved, the directors and the primary healthcare directors, the LIO and all that. Number 3, what strategy or solution did you try to consider? My strategy is to make sure all the eligible children are vaccinated. What happened?
Yes, sorry, Mercy. Maybe the questions are not clear. Sorry, Mercy. But can you think of a time when something that happened to you where you found you were with somebody or you were with a group and you convinced them that, to vaccinate children who needed specific vaccines. Can you think of a time like that? So this is not in general for your opinion, but really about a situation or a time when this happened.
Yes. A situation where nobody was ready to come out for vaccination. Only during this COVID-19 period, everybody was scared. So we have to call the community leaders to be able to talk to the caregivers in the outreach, tell them to come out for vaccination, the importance of the vaccination to the children, how it will make it possible for them to reach, even if there is no logistic for them. The health center was able to provide logistic for them to come out, or the health workers will go to the outreach to vaccinate the children with the help of the community leaders.
So Mercy, can you tell me what words did you use to convince the health workers? They may have had concerns about their own safety. Your colleagues that you work with. What words did you use to convince them, to explain to them that vaccination needed to keep going?
Yeah, by telling them to equip themselves with the PPE, by ensuring that they wear their hand gloves, keep to the guidelines of WHO, and to maintain social distancing and keep the vaccination going.
All right, thank you very much, Mercy, for sharing. Let's keep going, and thank you very much for speaking up. Let's see, Rogers Kani and then Husseini Abdullahi. The floor is yours. So first Rogers and then Husseini. Go ahead, Rogers. Tell us when something actually happened where you convinced someone, an individual or a group, to vaccinate children who needed it.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, all over where I don't know where you are, but I just want to make sure that you're getting my greetings. I'm Rogers, calling from Nigeria, Niger State precisely. I work with the routine immunization team in Niger State. Sometime last year, I was in Port Harcourt, where I was the WHO LGA coordinator, facilitating routine immunization and surveillance activities at the local government level. So precisely during the polio program, there was a particular community in Thai local government where we noticed high level of vaccine hesitancy then. So the woman refused to vaccinate 3 of her children. 3 of her children were not vaccinated in either of the antigens. So as the WHO local government facilitator responsible for that LGA, so I was called, the DSNO called me that I should please come and see this particular situation that this woman pays continuously during supplementary immunization activities, during routine immunization activities. This woman doesn't bring her children to come and take antigens, any of the antigens. So when I came, I talked with her. She proved very, very stubborn. So immediately what I did was to look for someone that is from her community, from her tribe. She's from Akwa Ibom. And for those of us that are from Nigeria, you know Akwa Ibom, we have different tribes and ethnic groups. So I looked for someone that is from her area that could speak the language with her and it kind of communicates all what vaccine and vaccination is all about in their language. So that was one strategy that was used. Use a local communicator to communicate in her understanding. So, and she seems to be a religious person as well. So the person we brought was also a Christian, a kind of a pastor-like. So the person used the Akwa Ibom language and also law and said, look, God is not a vaccinating your children. Christianity is not against vaccinating your children. So subsequently, I don't know if all what I've said answered almost all your question that is here. Thank you.
Can you tell me, Rogers, what were the words you used? What to the mediator, to the person who was from her same group? What did you tell that mediator about how to engage with a stakeholder?
Okay. What I observed or what I noted, some of the striking language or striking things that the communicator used one, God is not against vaccination. Christianity is not against vaccination, because she seems to be a kind of religious bias, believing that she ought not to take a vaccine because of her religious stand. But the communicator, who is from her tribe, tried to ease that up with her, and assuring her that, look, God is not against vaccination. Christianity is not against vaccination. That's one key language I got in the course of the communication. And also speaking in their language, assurance that the person go into anything that will cause harm to her, and some cord, there was kind of some bond, trust. So there was high level of trust because they came from the same tribe, and also easing the religious bias that she has was also a big win, a major strategy applied as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much indeed, Rogers Kani from Nigeria. All right, let's hear now from I believe it's Husseini Abdullahi. Husseini.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Welcome.
Everyone. Yeah, thank you, sir. Glad to be here. From the question above here is that what was the situation? Honestly, in 2016, there was a vaccine hesitancy in one community that honestly dragged so many attention. Even the deputy governor of that of my state, I'm working with Kaduna State Primary Healthcare Board. Even the deputy governor of Kaduna State then has to come to resolve that issue of vaccine hesitancy from one religious leader, and even the chairman of task force committee at that very time, and even the emir of my district. All of people important personalities has to be there to resolve that issue. So it was really a remarkable something that I cannot even forget about it. So I think for the stakeholders, that was who were the stakeholders. That is my deputy governor, the state chairman, task force committee, the emir of my district, and all important personalities from the community leaders were there to resolve that issue. And what strategy or solution did we try or consider? Well, for that, we involve, even initially, we involve many of local entertainers, to attract the children. And we use so many places to attract the children in order to capture them and vaccinate them. But however, these people around that area, even though they were knowledgeable about the importance of vaccine, but I don't know, they always reject it. I think the only thing is they like to be recognized, or they like attention of maybe government official to be on them. So that's why maybe every time they will not collect the vaccines until something like that happens, then they will likely give their children. So I think that is what happened when they refused the vaccination. We took the strategy to resolve the issue amicably from the settlement level to the ward level and then to the LGA level, but all efforts proved to be failing. Who or what helped you? I think what helped us is that the community leaders sat down with the man and talk to him, have a dialogue one on what is really happening, that he refused his children and his clans to be vaccinated. And what he was telling us was that the government are not doing their part in bringing so many development into their side. It's only that when it comes to vaccination, then the people follow them house, but they need other intervention and other things. So that's why he organized his people that nobody should be receiving vaccines and all that. Well, for what the question number 7, was there anything that surprised you? Yeah, honestly, the thing that surprised me was that at that very moment, the government or the deputy governor asked all the people, regardless of their age, to be vaccinated with with the OPV. So that really surprises me, and I don't know. I cannot see the last question.
How
Hello?
did it turn out? In the end,
It turned out.
I'm not clear from listening. Sorry, I did not get. So, were you able to vaccinate the children, despite the initial reluctance or hesitancy?
Yes, all the children were fully vaccinated. So that is how it turns out.
Okay.
So I still can't forget that scenario or what happened there.
Great.
Thank
you, Husseini Abdullahi. Let's have a round of applause for our first presenters. All right, so our bet is that by focusing on these situations where you're actually able to make a change, that's likely to be more productive than focusing on describing the problem. That's at least what we are looking to explore during exercise 2. Let's go to, let's hear some more voices. Let's go to Bedi Remond. Bedi Remond, are you able to unmute? I know you had your...
My name is Omo Babe Fremeno.
Yes.
Hello.
Go ahead, Bedi Remond.
Yes, please.
Yes, the floor is yours. Please tell us, remember to tell us who you are and where you work, organization, city, and country.
All right, my name is Betty Raymond. I'm part of the vaccinating team. Can you hear me? The network.
Yes,
Hello.
loud and clear. What city and country, sorry?
I'm from Ghana, Betty Raymond from Ghana. I work in a health center, and we did this national polio thing, and most at times the people, though community sensitization programs were run, but sometimes when you get to them, it's feel like most said if it's a proper drug, they should have been selling it. That's some basic notion that they have about the free immunization things that we do. So what we do at our end here is we talk to them that the government of the country purchase the drugs. That's where they pay on their behalf as parents. So they need not to pay for the vaccines. But most at times sorry?
Please proceed. I think we have somebody, one of our panelists who accidentally unmuted their microphone. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and
Hello.
clear. Please proceed.
Okay. Thank you very much. As I was saying, most people have doubts about the vaccines that we issue to the children, and especially those in the villages. They say if it's a proper drug, they should have been selling them to them and for them to buy. So what we did here is we talked to them that our government purchased the drugs and give to us to give to them, because it's the duty of the government that it makes sure every children in the community stays healthy and that the parents benefit from their children in the future. So we work in hand with the community people, because sometimes the language barrier to makes it difficult for them to understand. So the community volunteers that we have, we train them as to what message they should go and give to the members of the community. So it's times help us and make the work so easy for us.
So can you tell me, so you work through these community volunteers, but can you tell me what words did you use? Can you recall what you actually said, that helped convince your parents, community members to vaccinate children who otherwise would have been without vaccines?
Yeah, so as I said, you see, if you're a stranger and you are talking to them, they find it difficult to believe in you. But if someone is from among them, they know the person very well, that, the person is of their own. They have some trust in the person. So we call those community volunteers to ourselves. We train them as to, for instance, recently we did the national polio and vitamin A. So we tell them, educating the community members, the effects of polio on the individual, how the family will suffer. They carry the message that we give. So it's sort of make the work so easy for us when we get to the community because they've seen their own members following the foreigners. So the community volunteers are part.
Thank you, Bidi Remond. Yeah. All right, let's go to Rajat Garg. So Rajat, I would love to hear about your specific story when you convinced someone, an individual or a group, to vaccinate children who needed it.
Thanks, Reda, for giving me an opportunity. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Rajat Gar from New Delhi, India. I work as a program manager in RISE project of JSI, Johnson, India. So my situation was way back in 2017 when I was working with WHO as a surveillance medical officer, and there was a polio round. In that polio round, when I went to support the team, then the polio team asked me that there are some children from one family whose family is vaccination, and the family has not got the polio drops to the children from the last 3 years. So I went to that house, and as it was many efforts had been made earlier to convert that house, but it was not possible. So I went to that house. I greeted the people there, and I just went in and sit there and started chatting with them. So earlier they were a bit reluctant, but I showed some patience, and I gave adequate time to them. Then initially they were reluctant to speak anything, but after around 20-25 minutes, when they were convinced that I was there just to for helping their children and
So
for
Rajat, that's the question.
the
Do you
only well-being
recall?
of their
Do you
children,
remember what
told
words you
me, and then
used to convince them
yeah,
when you say you chatted with them for
yeah,
20-25 minutes? What did you actually say during those 20-25
yeah.
minutes? What did they find compelling, and what did they, what was not helpful? But more specifically, what was helpful to convey the right messages, the right of encouragement, and ultimately to convince them?
Yeah. So I was coming to that point only. Actually, I found out the root of the problem. The root of the problem was that family once had got to the government health center, and at that time, the behavior of some of the staff was not very good. So they thought that now when we are in need, then the staff is not helping them, and otherwise, when they are coming for folio drops, then why should we be cooperating with them? Then I convinced them that it is about sometimes the behavior of the people vary. We have got good people in the society. We have got some people who are not very good. So it is our children. So your children matter to you. It is your children that will be protected after getting the polio vaccine, and you should definitely take care of your children and get them vaccinated. So then it took some time for us. I shared one incident from my life also when the behavior of one person was not very good, but then it happens in everyday life. So they were quite convinced, and after around, you say, it took almost 1 hour, but they got their children vaccinated, and it was a very good experience.
So Rajat, let
I
me ask
was
you another question.
surprised that if
Let me ask you another follow-up question.
they with us.
Rajat, are you able to hear me? So
Yeah.
my follow-up question is
Yes.
this: where did you learn to do that? Was it did you receive formal training in how to communicate? Was it through experience? How did you know to find the right words to convince your stakeholders?
Uh, I think the experience of working in the field. I was working with the this in WHO since 2011. So almost at that time, I was having 6 years experience. So that actually helped me. I think the key points were firstly the patience. That if you go there, you show some patience, you try to find out what actually the problem is, and secondly, once you identify the problem, that you can convince them, and you try to address it in the appropriate IPC is there, and sometimes the use of community influencers, as others have pointed out. And the thing that surprised me was that when I quoted my personal example, then most of them were that actually worked wondered. wonders. Like it changed their attitude. So I think that is one thing that if we can relate, they can relate to us, then they will. It will be easier to convince them. So that's all.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Rajat. Let's go now to Rohe and Jie. Rohe, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you, Reda.
Okay, wonderful. Remind us where you work, what you do. So what's the organization, city, and country? And then, yes, we'd love to hear about a time, a situation when you convinced someone, an individual or a group, to vaccinate children who needed those vaccines.
Yes, thank you very much. As I said, my name is Rohi Njai. I am a stopper for the Global Polio Eradication Program, Communication for Development with UNICEF. And I am working in Sokoto. And that's the reason why I thought of sharing this experience, because Sokoto is in northern Nigeria where non-compliance to immunization or allowing their kids to be vaccinated is very, very, it's a problem here, or it is common. So there was this instance in sometime in last year when we were having the state immunization plus this. We went into this settlement and we found a household head or a compound head whom was, really reluctant to give away his kids to be vaccinated. And what even made it difficult, the community leader, the social mobilizers who were the native of that settlement themselves, they tried to talk to him about vaccination, but he has always been reluctant, not complying. So then when they told me that while I was in the field on supervision, I told them, okay, let's go and see him and talk to him. So when I said that, they said, no, he wouldn't agree. I said, no, let's just go. So when we went into his compound, then he came out, then we discussed with him. I discussed with him. I said, these teams have been coming here for some time, and the response that we have got is that you've never allowed your kids to be immunized. What's the problem? Then I decided to probe him and hear from him. Then actually he was angry because there was a point his wife, was in labor, and he took her to the health facility. But according to him, the wife wasn't attended, to their satisfaction. So because of that, he also decided to reject anything, that has to do with immunization or any services that come to his doorstep. So when he said that, I said, yes, you are right. And at that point, you were desperate and you needed support, health support for your family. But also don't take that as a barrier for you to receive another, good service, a health service such as immunizing your kids. Because this time, the services is coming to you to your doorstep to do what? To vaccinate your kids. And when these kids are vaccinated, they will be prevented from polio. And you don't want to see your kid grow up tomorrow, having polio or can't walk or having a disability that could prevent his development and growth tomorrow. He said, yes, that is very right. I said, so allow them, since the service have come to your doorstep, the other one have passed, but then allow and embrace this one, because it is for the support of and development of your kids. And also it is free. You are not paying anything, he said, yes. So I believe the way we talk to him and engage him, he finally agreed. So when he agreed, the most amazing thing, during our conversation was that I think he has almost 10 kids in that compound who have never been vaccinated. So that vaccinating those kids had the opportunity to be immunized, started from that day. So until today, they continue to have that vaccinations. So what I wanted to say generally is most often is that the caregivers or household heads being reluctant not to give away their kids to be vaccinated. There are underlying reasons. Sometimes they are angry because, when they seek healthcare services, the approach, they get from health workers. Sometimes also they perceive that, this, vaccination or lot, the vaccinations are a lot and many for them to handle. So it is meant to, bring infertility so that they will not bear more children. Some of them will tell you, we are tired of vaccination all the time. We are tired of polio because we have other needs that we want, other health needs that we want. For example, nutrition. We need bed nets. Sometimes they will tell you these things. That is why they are not embracing, these things. But I believe also the way we talk to them help a lot. So at the end of the day, he was convinced 10 of his children were vaccinated right at the spot, and they continue to be vaccinated until today. Thank you. That was the experience I wanted to share.
Thank you very much indeed, Rohe and Jie. Let's go now to Sajal Dutta. Sajal, are you able to speak to us? Sajal Dutta, please unmute if you can. You've raised your hand. All right, we're at the 45-minute mark. All right, let's go to Moses. All right, Moses, we haven't heard from before, as far as I know.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, Moses, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry I joined late, but what I'm seeing on the screen that was shared, have you ever convinced someone to vaccinate children who needed it? I think for this...
Moses, please introduce yourself first. Tell us where you work, what you do.
Okay, I work in Nigeria. I'm calling from Nigeria, Adamawa State presently. This experience, well, I lost count of the number, but I'll just mention some few occasions. Some of them we
just need one situation, Moses. Just tell us about one time and tell us what happened. Who did you convince? Yeah. What was the situation and how did it turn out?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I have instances like what she just shared from Sokoto, but I'm going to share a different scenario. This was in Zamfara. There was a bandit attack and some communities were displaced and they were stationed in a primary school. Unfortunately, no government official went to visit them. However, this immunization plus they came about and vaccination team went there. As expected, it was a polio, National Day vaccination campaign. They were chased away. I'm hearing background noise. Can I still go ahead?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay. Now, what I did, I met with the World Health, the World Focal person for that particular ward. They told me the effort they have made. I say, okay, let me try my own luck. I went there. I have to use the situation on ground because it was during the hottest month of the year. They were inside the sun. I could see a lot of children, people. Some were even going outside to buy pure water from that sachet water from the shop. I asked, how much is a bag? It was 100 naira. And I had some money with me. So I said, okay, let me approach these people in a different way. I asked the World Focal person to assist me, went with my car. We bought about 10 bags. That was 1,000 naira, which was quite a small token. I said, okay, let me use this to approach them. I asked of the most senior woman in their midst. They directed me to the particular woman. I asked her to come around. I have something for her. I presented the water. So, and I have to start explaining. They showed the anger quite all right, but just because of that singular kind gesture, we were able to broker that they eventually welcome the vaccination team. But with that little effort, other people from the community queue into that. They went and bought food and brought in coolers and other things were brought. And at the end of the day, we were able to immunize, 500 children from that primary school compound. So in summary, that's what we were able to do. So outside convincing them, you look at the situation, I cash in on their need at that particular point in time. They needed water, very hot weather, and nothing had been brought to them by even the government official. So I went back to the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, narrated my experience, and the following day, we went back to that community. The State Emergency Management Authority were able to bring them in, and other, agency, and they were able to assist them.
Thank you, Moses, for sharing this testimony. Very interesting story once again. And we, what we're thinking of is focusing on stories that are get very specific, right down to the words you use to speak with the stakeholders, where you ultimately won the day for vaccination, for immunization, by convincing someone, an individual or a group, to vaccinate children who needed it. We'll hear one last. So thank you. There are many more hands raised. Let's go to Sajal Dutta. Sajal, are you able to speak to us now? Sajal, please go ahead. All right, looks like Sajal is still having problems. That's okay, that happens. Let's go to, all right, let's go now to Teach to Reach. All right, if you're live in the on the stage, so this is the Teach to Reach conference website where we'll be holding the full Teach to Reach conference in December. However, what we're doing today is running a test, and you can see actually that we're broadcasting the General Assembly into the stage of the Teach to Reach Accelerator Pilot Conference. So this is only a test, but you can see that right now there's 33 people who have joined. Let me just zoom up here. And you can see many, many messages. So obviously, if you're in Zoom, we invited the Teach to Reach participants to join the test. But this is where it's going to get interesting. If you are in the room now, in the Zoom room now, you'll be able to go to Network at the top of the hour. And for 1 full hour, let me show you how it works. So let me see if I can, So here, you can see I've clicked on networking. So if you got your ticket in time for the Teach to Reach conference test, you'll be able to go to this networking tab. And here, once you are ready, you click on the button to meet someone. You may have to give authorization to share your... all right, please. To share your audio and video. So in my case, I don't have any video devices going. You click on apply, and now you can see it's thinking you'll meet the next person available. And what the conference platform will do is go and find you someone randomly, preferably another English speaker, and pull them into a video chat for you. So you'll have 2 minutes to, thank you, Rajat, who says, excellent job. To the previous speaker, I'm guessing, you'll meet the next person available. So that's why we schedule times for networking, because that's when everyone will be able to access this networking space. And so as soon as the platform finds you someone, you'll be video chatting with them. Alain Blaise has been doing this part of the day. Alain Blaise, can you tell us how it actually works?
Yes, Reda, good evening again, good afternoon. I think that is, let us say that it's kind of, we used to eat, it's kind of remote coffee, but just an instant one. Although I don't like the instant coffee, but it's kind of remote coffee where randomly you get into the room, you click on network, you go there, and then you say you're ready. You click on ready button, and then what will happen is the next person available will be connected to you for 2 minutes. So for 2 minutes, you guys can use your camera to see each other. It's kind of advanced version of remote coffee where you can actually see each other if you want to. Then you can exchange your WhatsApp number if you want to take the discussion further. But because today is a test, so we just set up only 2 minutes. So make sure that in 2 minutes you have time to, to talk to each other, and then you move to the next person, and then you stay around clicking on ready, and then you will randomly assign someone to talk to. That is basically, and then the record for now is a French speaker who were able to speak to 7 people in 20 minutes.
That's all right. We won't give his name, right? So as soon as the assembly is over, you can see it's happening now. It's being broadcast on what is called the stage, or the plenary room. And then as soon as we finish this session, so in 6 minutes, you'll be able to go to this platform. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you can still get a ticket. But and this is just a test, but you can actually network and connect with other participants in both the Peer Hub and Teach to Reach, because we've invited both groups, and I'm now going to explain to you why we've done that. So when we asked you during Teach to Reach, or ahead of Teach to Reach, we asked you what is most needed to improve immunization program performance. All right. And so this is what you told us: leadership followed by innovation. But you can see leadership is way ahead of all the other categories. So in response, during Teach to Reach Level 2 certification, we proposed to form the Global Council of Learning Leaders for Immunization. And one of the responsibilities of this voluntary group will be to organize the first Teach to Reach annual conference. Now, initially, we had announced that this conference would be, all right, so this would be, so it's got a little bit of French left over, would be a week earlier, so the 8th of December. So it's actually, we've actually changed the dates. So 15th. Whoops, yeah. So we've actually changed the dates. So make sure you write down 15th to 17th of December. Now we know that's not ideal for some people who are dealing with end of year reporting duties and so on. But because this is Teach to Reach and it's a distinct initiative from the COVID-19 Peer Hub, what's the relationship? Teach to Reach is going to be a real showcase for participants of the Peer Hub, and in particular for the national team. So if you have an active country group, thanks Rajat, who says looks exciting, and these comments are actually coming from YouTube because I won't get into the details, but the workshops will be there will be workshops reserved for the national team. So if you look in the platform, you can see here that there are what's called sessions. So if you go to the sessions, you can see that there's a bunch of sessions. So country teams will be able to have their own sessions, and will be able to organize and prepare to present their work, meet not only with their country team participants, but also with EPI country and international partners. And then for individuals, because we know many of you are from countries where there isn't a country team, we'll also have sessions and maybe even invite some of you to the plenary to present your project within the Peer Hub. Now, this is specifically for the Peer Hub. Of course, we'll have for the Global Council of Learning Leaders. So right now, this is a working title. We might change this. We'll be presenting specific concrete projects of how to improve immunization training, and then dialogue with partners within the sessions, within the conference spaces, on how to actually transform training. So again, if you haven't been there yet, we're running the test today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So you have 3 days to check it out. We'll be scheduling probably a couple of chats of networking sessions every day and rerunning. So just basically playing the recording of the General Assembly, just so everyone can check it out and get used to it and see how this new platform works. So we only have 3 minutes, but I'd like to hear at least one person. Let me just lower their hands. And if you'd like to answer these questions, basically, are you interested in attending this conference? Would you like your national team to participate? And who would you like to see? Other than COVID-19 Peer Hub and Teach to Reach participants, who else would you like to see? Is it EPI managers? Is it international agencies? And fourth question, if this conference is a success, what then would be different from the for the Peer Hub? So those are the questions for you. What difference could this conference potentially make? So again, please go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to answer these questions. This will be the last set of questions, and then we'll be inviting you to go to the networking to test out this key feature of the new Teach to Reach conference platform. So is there anyone who would like to answer these questions about the interest? And all right, I see Mohammed Imran Qureshi. Yes, Mohammed, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Reda. Can you listen me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Can you listen me, Reda?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So yes, I'm definitely interested in Teach to Reach conference. And the reason behind whatever we have learned over the years, and especially from Geneva Learning Foundation, COVID Peer Hub, and Teach to Reach Level 1 Scholar Course, and the current Teach to Reach Level 2. So all those things are translated into the overall substantial and tangible outcomes. So definitely we want to carry forward those lessons learned, and let's see how we gonna improve the overall outcomes and objectives of the program performance as far as our areas of work are concerned. So regarding the national team participation, yes, these EPI programs, they never work in silos, and no individuals work in individual capacity. Generally, we always work in teams, and no better than the national teams basically they are the government people and they are like on the steering seat. So definitely, if they are involved along with the partners, it will bring us a major change. What is basically required, because that is probably the only missing link. Because if we are all together and working for a common cause and objective, it would be much easier to achieve it. So coming back to question number 3, regarding the other potential partners to be participating in this conference. So no one better than the EPI directors, because they are the key decision makers in their own domains, in their own areas of work, provinces, and at the national level. So probably they are the best to be invited, and they could have a huge impact on the outcomes of this conference. International agencies, yes, already we have like WHO and UNICEF with us, but now certain other like extended partners, they are emerging in the program. Like we have CSOs and the NGOs, and then we have BMGF, then Roadmap Team, then other Aga Khan universities, and so many other stakeholders are now emerging. So if they've been involved and given an opportunity, yes, they would definitely prove
Great.
very handy and helpful.
Thank you. Yes, quickly, we're over time now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the peer COVID-19 peer hub success, basically, the biggest outcome is to counteract the bad effects of COVID-19, where a lot of children are unvaccinated and they are unable to get their due vaccines, and they are now defaulters. So we can cover all those children and we can save them from vaccine preventable diseases. Over.
Great. Thank you very much, Mohammed Imran Qureshi. Thank you to all our presenters today. We're out of time, so I'd like to invite everyone to go to the Teach to Reach pilot conference test to test the networking capabilities. I'll be explaining how it works, but first, Alain will. So again, I'm typing in the link. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you can do that now. And of course, this is what it looks like. Let me just explain one last time. Yes, so you should be able to see here that, here we go. You have the networking happening now. So if you go down to the schedule here, you can see we've got the instant remote coffee. That's the last event of the day. Now, we're scheduling some additional events, so we're going to repeat the networking. So if you miss it today, if there's a problem today, that's okay. When you go to the networking, click on networking where it says now. When you're ready, click on ready. And that'll help you connect you with someone else. And I'm actually going to connect if there's actually somebody who can respond. I see Sohini has actually managed to do it. So we're just testing today, but just imagine what this will be like. It's an incredible opportunity to get to know people in the Peer Hub and from the rest of the world, from other scholar programs. By this randomly connecting, as Alain said, it's not new for us. We've been doing this with a remote coffee, but that is how it works. So if you haven't joined yet, you can stay connected here. Of course, because this is week 4 of the Accelerator, I'm just going to review and remind everyone that in order to complete the Accelerator, you're going to receive your request for the individual acceleration report. Don't miss that email request. The report is required for you to complete the Launchpad. And then the other bit of news is that there'll be no weekly assemblies from the 17th of October to the 1st of November. So 2 weeks where we won't be doing the weekly assemblies, but you're encouraged to keep working. Country teams will keep working, and of course your daily work will keep working unless you have some leave or vacation time coming up. That's it. As this is the 4th week of the Accelerator, we're going to go back and remind ourselves, so what the symbol is for 10, our 9 ignition sequence start for the Accelerator. 5, and 4. Hopefully this you will find this inspiring. Of course, this was at the time one country's achievement, but I think the challenges we have before us today are too big for any one country, no matter how powerful to take on. The pandemic is a good case in point. Wishing you well, take care, and see you in the networking.